If you would like to listen to the full version of Chapter 2, then you can do so via Apple Podcast subscription and via Patreon. Will Mrs. Amber and Charlie get any closer to finding out who the thief is? Sign up for a free 7-day trial on Patreon and on Apple Podcast subscription now to listen to more and to hear the other chapters over the next few weeks. You'll also be able to listen to everything on the podcast ad-free and get lots of exclusive super listener only content. Chapter 2, Lady Patricia. It was Wednesday morning and Charlie was woken up by the bright morning sun rising through a crack in his bedroom curtains. Today wasn't any other school holiday day though. It was another day of being a crime investigator, carrying an immense amount of responsibility as the missing cup needed to be found in time for the famous cup final. Charlie, as agreed, met Mrs. Amber outside the special building at 9 a.m. Mrs. Amber stood there like a military commander with 2 rucksacks and a bin liner full of stuff. "Morning, Mrs. Amber," shouted Charlie. "Shh! We don't want to draw any attention to ourselves, Charlie. Keep your blooming voice down, will you, boy?" Mrs. Amber hurried Charlie into the special building and shut the door behind them both. They walked into one of the rooms and Mrs. Amber poured the contents of the bin liner onto the floor. Charlie looked down and said, "What on earth is all this stuff, Mrs. Amber?" "This, Charlie, is what we will be wearing today. It is our disguise. We don't want to get noticed at either of the addresses we're going to, do we?" "No, I suppose you're right, Mrs. Amber," said Charlie. Mrs. Amber chucked Charlie some clothes, which included a long-sleeve white top, some dungarees, and a long, curly, blonde wig. Mrs. Amber, I think these are yours," said Charlie. "No, certainly not. They're yours, Charlie. Today you'll be known as Elof." "You must be joking," yelled Charlie. "I sound like a Swedish waiter. You'll have me cooking meatballs in gravy before I know it." "Just get the clothes on, will you?" said Mrs. Amber, with a very serious look on her face and a tone which told Charlie she wasn't playing today. Charlie did what he was told. He got the white top on, the dungarees and the blonde long wig. He stood in front of a mirror and in his best Swedish accent he repeated, "My name is Elof. My name is Elof. My name is Elof." Mrs. Amber had dressed herself up as a parking warden. She was wearing a white shirt, a bright high-vis vest and a black curly wig with an old train driver's hat. Oh, and a stick-on moustache, which looked very strange. Charlie and Mrs. Amber were doing a funny old job of not being seen because they certainly looked entertaining. Mrs. Amber," Charlie said. "Yes, Elof," said Mrs. Amber. If my new name is Elof, what do I call you? Because I can't call you Mrs. Amber. You have a moustache." "You will call me, John. John, that'll be my name. Call me John, Charlie." Charlie stood there wondering what on earth he got himself into. "Right, Elof," said Mrs. Amber. "The first address we are going to is 405 Twirler Avenue, the Patricia's house." Charlie, also now known as Elof, and Mrs. Amber, also known as John, went out the door and were ready to go. Mrs. Amber started walking off at a high-speed pace out of the driveway of the special building and straight onto the pavement of the main road. Charlie shouted, "Mrs. Amber, oops, sorry, I mean John, where's your car?" Mrs. Amber responded, "I don't have a car, Elof. We're walking." Charlie went a funny shade of grey, and that feeling of dread filled him from his nose to his toes. What if I'm seen, he thought. I'll have a nickname of Elof forever. Charlie had to get on with it, though. He was on a mission, and it was an opportunity to save the day. He chased after John, a.k.a. Mrs. Amber, who was marching down the road like a brigadier. Oh, and if you're not sure what a brigadier is, it's a type of soldier. And what do soldiers do? They march, with the most perfect of postures. This is exactly what Mrs. Amber was doing. As Charlie and Mrs. Amber were walking up the road, they were getting some funny looks from all the drivers and pedestrians travelling in different directions. In the distance, Charlie could see a small group of children his age walking on the other side of the pavement. However, these children were coming towards him and Mrs. Amber. They also had a football in their hands. Charlie's feeling of dread returned as he had a nudge of the memory and thought to himself, "Oh no, it's Wednesday. I said to George, Andrew and Joshua that I would be playing football with them today. They're heading towards my house. What on earth am I going to do?" Things went from worse to worse as the three mates of Charlie's crossed the road, and they were now not only walking towards them, but were on the same side of the pavement. A minute later, the three friends were at a distance where they could have a very good look at Charlie and Mrs. Amber. Charlie felt like his heart had dropped into his stomach as he went into full panic mode. The three mates couldn't keep their eyes off of Mrs. Amber and Charlie as they went opposite directions. And then one of them said, "Guys, stop. I know that face from somewhere." Charlie and Mrs. Amber stopped and turned around, staring at the group in hope that they wouldn't ask them anything too suspicious. "What's your name?" one of them said. "I feel like I know you from somewhere." Mrs. Amber lowered her voice and said, "My name's John." "No, not you, miss," one of them said. Sorry, sir. What's your name?" pointing at Charlie. Elof?" As Charlie said that, he went completely red. Mrs. Amber then just shouted at the three mates, "Now sling your hook, or I'll be round to your houses to give your parents a parking ticket, and you will be to blame." Charlie's three pals disappeared quickly and headed towards his house. Charlie couldn't quite believe what he'd got himself into. How did I go from that lovely dream about cheesecake to wearing a wig and being called Elof? This is completely ridiculous, Charlie thought. Nevertheless, Charlie followed Mrs. Amber, who was now marching down the road looking even weirder than she already did. He followed Mrs. Amber down a series of twists and turns, and eventually they ended up at Twirler Avenue.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Kick off summer with Memorial Day savings at Lowe's. Right now, get 5 Scott's Naturescapes 1.5 cubic foot mulch bags for just $10. Plus, get up to 40% off select major appliances and save an extra $50 on every $500 you spend on select major appliances $396 or more. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 5/28. Mulch offer excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. See Lowe's.com for more details.